Hello and welcome to YNWA Transfer News, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this. Gary Neville fails to find negative in Liverpool's Alexander Isak transfer. Different level. Gary Neville reckons Liverpool is poised to secure one of the top center forwards in the world in Alexander Isak and claims Arne Slot's employers will be confident as hell if they can also land Mark Guehi before the transfer deadline. The Reds have at last struck an agreement with Newcastle for Isak's services after previously having an offer turned down earlier this summer. Isak has been refusing to play for Newcastle and recently claimed assurances had been broken, with the club hitting back at him before additional discussions were conducted at the player's residence last week, with no further headway achieved. Now, the 25-year-old is bound for Anfield after the Magpies consented to bring in Stuttgart striker Nick Woltemade as his successor, while Eddie Howe is also poised to recruit Brentford's Yoane Wissa. Liverpool is riding high after maintaining its perfect start to the campaign with a crucial 1-0 triumph over title contenders Arsenal on Sunday, and Neville reckons the Isak acquisition will only boost the team's self-belief. He suggested that if the Reds can also secure Crystal Palace defender Guehi, that sentiment will soar even higher. The two games they've just played, they have a right battle at St. James Park, and to come out of there with a victory was incredible, he said on the Gary Neville podcast. To do this today, that must give them massive confidence. Isak is one of the top center forwards in the world. He's a real player. He's the one player I've seen give Saliba and Gabriel and Virgil van Dijk a real hard time over the last couple of seasons. He's really caused them problems. He's a different level player. Isak coming into that team today, with Guehi coming in as well. For Liverpool to be on 9 points with the two games they've had and think those two could be entering the building off the back end of the international break, they'll be absolutely buzzing and confident as hell. Isak is poised to put pen to paper on a 6-year contract at Anfield after successfully completing his medical on Monday, bringing an end to the summer's most protracted transfer saga. Meanwhile, securing Guehi appears to be a more challenging task for Liverpool, following Crystal Palace manager Oliver Glasner's insistence that the central defender must remain if the club are to enjoy a successful season. "We have no chance to find the right replacement in one day," he stated following their 3-0 victory over Aston Villa, a match in which Guehi netted a stunner. "We all agreed that we just sell Mark if we have the right replacement in the building. We wanted a replacement by 1st of July. It is 31st August and we have no replacement. We have this agreement, so it is clear from me. He is such a crucial player. He is one of our key players. He is our captain." Liverpool star responds to Alexander Isak transfer development as a 125M deal close. Federico Chiesa has reacted to the news that Liverpool are closing in on Alexander Isak. The Reds made a breakthrough with Newcastle United for the Wantaway striker in the early hours of Monday morning after agreeing a £125 million deal. Isak is believed to have arrived on Merseyside to continue his medical ahead of finalizing the transfer for his dream move. The potential capture of the forward adds a new dimension to the transfer business for the champions this summer, who go into the international break with a 100% record after their 1-0 win over rivals Arsenal extended their winning start. In a post on Instagram by Fabrizio Romano, he claimed, "Alexander Isak set for medical as he signs a 6-year deal until 2031. Liverpool will pay £125 fee as Newcastle get £130 with solidarity payment included after the deal sealed. The two clubs have already exchanged documents for Isak deal overnight. Official statement set for today." Among those to like the post was Liverpool forward Federico Chiesa. While on an earlier picture posted by the reporter, summer arrival Will Wright liked the claim that he will be joining the Reds. The 25-year-old is likely to become the latest blockbuster arrival after Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez, Hugo Ekitike, and Giovanni Leoni penned terms with the title holders. In the early hours of Monday morning, the pursuit of Isak sparked into life following news that an agreement had been reached between Liverpool and Newcastle. Isak, who has been forced to train away from the first team since July, is now set to pen a 6-year contract with the Reds. Liverpool, reportedly confident in securing 35M Mark Guehi transfer. With Crystal Palace closing on a deal to sign Igor Julio from Brighton, it appears Liverpool's move to sign Mark Guehi is very much on as the summer transfer window heads into its final hours on deadline day. A wave of reports this hour have the deal, which had appeared in some doubt with Palace struggling to sign a suitable replacement, fully revived, with some suggestion that a London medical may already now be set for the coming hours. Liverpool moved quickly to get most of their summer incoming business done early, but have had to wait until deadline day to potentially bring in the final 2 pieces of their transfer puzzle. Guehi's arrival, if it comes off, could still lead to a departure for Joe Gomez. However, conflicting reports over the past hour have suggested it may be too late to complete his move to AC Milan, even if the Reds manage to now get Guehi across the line. Mixed messages on the outgoing front aside, the signing of Guehi for around 35M, plus or minus a few add-ons, is the defensive reinforcement deal the Reds have clearly been seeking for months now. Liverpool are also rushing to put the finishing touches on a 125M mega deal for Newcastle superstar Alexander Isak, with the Swedish striker believed to currently be undergoing his medical ahead of signing a 6-year contract and joining the club. Mark Guehi has given Liverpool what they want before transfer deadline. The Echo reported in June that Liverpool were prepared to be patient in their pursuit of Guehi. Given his contract status, the Reds believe they could sign him late in the window at a knockdown price. It remains to be seen whether a deal for Palace's star defender will materialize on Monday. However, any interest in the England international will only have risen after his performance for the Eagles during Sunday night's 3-0 demolition of Aston Villa. Guehi scored a stunning second-half goal against Unai Emery's side and defended well to keep a clean sheet for Glasner's men. It continues a fine run of form for the 25-year-old, who also played a key role in Palace's historic FA Cup final victory over Manchester City in May. But given that Palace has so little time to find a replacement, Liverpool's chances of signing Guehi are beginning to shrink. Palace's head coach reiterated that stance at Villa Park on Sunday. Everyone can rely on each other, and Mark, of course, is not just a small part of the puzzle. He is our captain, so we have to keep him. I told this to the chairman, and again, it's not for me. It's nice because I like Mark. He is such a professional and such a nice guy, but it's for the future of Crystal Palace and playing a successful season, so we have to keep him. And especially we talked and said, we will sell Mark if we have the right replacements, and we don't have the right replacements, so for me, it's clear to keep him. Liverpool optimistic over Mark Guehi transfer from Crystal Palace as medical. Details emerge. There is growing confidence around Liverpool that a deal to sign Mark Guehi can be concluded before the transfer window shuts. The Reds have monitored the Crystal Palace defender all summer and made a £35,047 offer on Saturday. Following Oliver Glasner's comments on Sunday that Palace would not be able to sell Guehi, the sense around Anfield was that a deal would be difficult to conclude. Following Oliver Glasner's comments on Sunday that Palace would not be able to sell Guehi, the sense around Anfield was that a deal would be difficult to conclude. Speaking on Sunday after Palace's 3-0 win over Aston Villa, Glasner had said, "For playing a successful season, we need Mark. It's not possible within one day to find the replacement who can play immediately in the Premier League. When you see our defensive setup, this is our foundation. Everybody knows exactly what he has to do. Everybody can rely on each other. Mark isn't a small part in this. He's our captain. We have to keep him. I told this to the chairman. It's not for me." However, Palace chairman Steve Parish had said earlier this summer that the club is not in a position to lose Guehi for free next year. The 25-year-old's contract expires in June, and there's an understanding he does not plan to sign an extension. Guehi was awarded the Player of the Match award at Villa Park on Sunday as he scored on what could be his final appearance for the Eagles. The ex-Chelsea man has played every minute of Palace's 6 games this season, which includes the Community Shield win over Liverpool. A regular England, Liverpool identified the opportunity to sign Guehi at a knockdown price earlier in the window, but it took until Saturday for an official bid to finally be forthcoming. It's understood his signing could make the departure of Joe Gomez more likely, with interest from AC Milan. Should Guehi sign, he would be the second summer arrival at the heart of defense following the acquisition of Giovanni Leone from Parma last month. Transfer deal sheet explained how Liverpool can get extra 2 hours to sign Alexander Isak and Mark Guehi. Liverpool are once again hot in the headlines with multiple reports of them finally reaching an agreement with Newcastle United for Alexander Isak. The Reds have been in pursuit of the striker for months, with the player making it clear he does not wish to stay at St. James's Park. Fabrizio Romano has dropped his famous "Here we go" line with an update that Isak will undergo a medical today. David Ornstein has also reported that Liverpool and Newcastle have reached a total agreement over an Isak transfer. Liverpool are also eyeing a last-gasp move for Mark Guehi, but they will need to tie up any loose ends for both targets today if they want to secure their signatures. Fortunately, the Premier League champions can buy themselves some extra time to finalize both deals with a transfer deal sheet. What time does the summer transfer window close? The 2025 summer transfer window will close today, Monday, September 1st, at 7 p.m. BST. The window has been split into 2 this year due to the Club World Cup, and the deadline is earlier than the usual 11 p.m. cutoff time. Clubs have until 7 p.m. to get any lingering deals over the line and bring the signings into their squad. However, they can submit a transfer deal sheet to earn extra time to complete final documentation. What is a transfer deal sheet? Liverpool may benefit from a transfer deal sheet this summer, with both Isak and Guehi hanging in the balance ahead of the deadline. A transfer deal sheet is a document that confirms a transfer has been reached, granting a further 2 hours after the deadline to finalize the formalities of the deal. Deal sheets were introduced to the Premier League in 2008 due to several deals falling through as a result of paperwork issues. Transfer deal sheet rules clubs will be given until 9 p.m. tonight to finalize any transfer submitted through a deal sheet. The transfer in question must be agreed between both clubs prior to the initial 7 p.m. deadline and then fully completed by the extended deadline. If transfers are still not yet finalized by the new 9 p.m. deadline, they will not go through. Deal sheets cannot be used before 5 p.m. but need to be filled in before the window closes. Using Isak as an ideal example, with reports suggesting a deal has been agreed between Liverpool and Newcastle today, the Reds could submit a deal sheet to buy themselves extra time if formalities and paperwork risk being incomplete by 7 p.m. In other news, Mark Guehi to Liverpool transfer may be about to take major step as Crystal Palace close to agreement. England's national media reacts to Alexander Isak's transfer and Liverpool win. Be afraid. It wasn't particularly attractive soccer, however. Liverpool maintained its perfect start to defending its Premier League crown with a victory against its closest challenger Arsenal on Sunday. Dominic Szoboszlai netted the decisive goal with a thunderous 30-yard free kick 7 minutes before the final whistle, extending the Reds' lead to 2 points after 3 matches of the new season. It provided a pleasing conclusion at Anfield. Here's how England's national press assessed another crucial result for Arne Slot's team. Oliver Holt in the Daily Mail suggests the pending acquisition of Alexander Isak from Newcastle will render Liverpool an even more formidable proposition. Forget the idea that the recruitment of Isak might destabilize them, he wrote. Isak is too good a player and Slot too good a manager for that to be an issue. If Isak signs for Liverpool on Monday, the rest of the league should be afraid. If he doesn't sign, they will know that Slot's team should be good enough to hold. Off the rest anyway. Richard Jolly from The Independent was among many who noted Arsenal's cautious approach. Set-piece FC were condemned to defeat by a wonderful set-piece, Szoboszlai's free kick leaving David Raya shrugging as he picked himself up off the Anfield turf, he wrote. Well, what could he do? That might be Arsenal's sense, too. They imposed themselves upon Anfield, their style of play, even their scoreline. Except this was 1-0 to Liverpool. The champions scored in the brief period of time when they were the superior side. For at least an hour, Arsenal were the more assertive, the more coherent, the more convincing, but perhaps not the more creative. Sterile domination, Arsene Wenger once called it, albeit about more technical, less physical sides. Every other opponent had scored twice against Liverpool this season. Arsenal only mustered one shot on target. James Gearbrandt, writing for The Times, examined the impact of man-of-the-match Szoboszlai. You can take the man out of the engine room, but you can't take the engine out of the man, he wrote. In a game which was at times slow, torpid, attritional, Dominik Szoboszlai was the motor which kept on running. Just when it seemed that this meeting of the defending champions and formidable challengers was petering out towards a mutually assured stalemate, Liverpool's unstoppable force delivered an unstoppable free kick, whipped beyond the despairing dive of David Raya, kissing the inside of the post, and providing Arne Slot's team with their third late-snatched win in their first 3 games of this season. Harvey Elliott nears Liverpool exit as Aston Villa agree £35 million transfer deal. Liverpool have agreed a deal with Aston Villa over the signing of Harvey Elliott. The Midlands side will take the 22-year-old on an initial season-long loan, with an obligation to then buy the player for $35 million. Elliott held discussions with RB Leipzig last month with the Bundesliga side, having been expected to make a move. Once Xavi Simons completed his anticipated departure, with the Dutchman signing for Tottenham Hotspur for $51 million on Saturday. But Villa have instead sealed a deal for Elliott, who has seen his first-team opportunities limited since the arrival of Arne Slot as Liverpool head coach last summer. The player is set to undergo a medical in Birmingham later today. Villa are having to be creative with their transfer business to ensure they comply with UEFA's financial restrictions, having qualified for the Europa League. Liverpool have already brought in more than $200 million in sales this summer, to help offset a spend in excess of $300 million that will increase further with the signing of Alexander Isak from Newcastle United for $125 million. The Reds also remain interested in Crystal Palace centre-back Mark Guehi, having bid $35 million for a player who is out of contract next summer. Palace are preparing for life after Guehi by looking to sign Brighton centre-back Igor Julio on loan, while also pursuing at least one other defensive option. AC Milan, though, is unlikely to be a destination for Liverpool defender Joe Gomez, regardless of whether or not Guehi arrives, with the Italian side having for now walked away from a possible deal. Jadon Danns is unlikely to leave Liverpool on loan as the Reds continue to monitor his progress after an injury that curtailed a temporary stay at Sunderland last season. Midfielder Stefan Bajcetic and left-backs Callum Scanlon and Luke Chambers are also staying as they recover full fitness. Kaidi Gordon is still seeking a loan move after a deal with League One side. Blackpool failed to be agreed, while Reece Williams could also be moved on a temporary basis. Gary Neville's Liverpool fear with prediction made for Alexander Isak transfer. Gary Neville has expressed his fear for the rest of the Premier League, claiming Liverpool will score a bucket load of goals once Alexander Isak is added to their ranks. After one of the most dramatic transfer sagas in Premier League history, the Reds have finally agreed a $125 million deal with Newcastle to bring the Swedish superstar to Anfield. They previously failed with a 110mm bid at the start of August, but resistance on Tyneside was worn down by Isak's persistent pressure to force through a move. Liverpool are currently on cloud nine, with the news of his pending arrival delighting fans. The expected signing of the Swede follows the Reds' hard-fought win over Arsenal on Sunday, a victory that has put them 2 points clear at the top of the table after 3 games played. Speaking on his self-titled podcast after Liverpool had secured the win against Mikel Arteta's side, Neville shared his worry for Liverpool's rivals that the Reds' attacking prowess is about to go sky-high with the acquisition of Isak 125M. If Isak comes in, they're going to score an absolute bucket load of goals, Neville predicted. Isak is set to sign a 6-year deal with the Premier League champions and is the second striker to arrive at the club after Liverpool signed French forward Hugo Ekitike in July. Neville believes, having also beaten Bournemouth at home and Newcastle. Away this season, the Reds are primed to kick on this season, especially if they can add Isak and secure a deal for Crystal Palace captain Mark Guehi before Monday's 7 p.m. transfer deadline. The 2 games they've just played, they have a right battle at St. James's Park, and to come out of there with a victory was incredible, Neville added. To do this today, that must give them massive confidence. If they can get Isak and Guehi through the door, they're 2 starting players. Isak is one of the top center forwards in the world. He's a real player. He's the one player I've seen give William Saliba and Gabriel and Virgil van Dijk a real hard time over the last couple of seasons. He's really caused them problems. He's a different level player. Thank you for watching. Like and comment. Subscribe.